Hi, hello lads, sorry for the late video. I'm actually on my holidays and I have other things to be doing, like I'm going away to Kerry now in about 3 weeks, so I have to organise stuff for that. And also for this video I actually had to look for some of the stuff, so it took a couple of days to find it. And it's pretty cool. What I'm going to talk to you about today is today I'm going to be talking to you about 3 different things, but they're kind of all related to one another. It's kind of the history of archaeology in Ireland and kind of around the world. Then it's the gear that we use when we're excavating, a few little bits that I think that are interesting, and then the gear that we wear now. Like, it's kind of easy what we wear, but I'll just kind of go through it anyway. And that's really it. So the history of kind of archaeology kind of started off when the Greek, Romans, and pharaohs kind of started writing stuff down. And it was kind of weird, like the pharaohs kind of had like a courtyard where they had like only intellectual discussions and kind of all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. They were only like kind of like scholars and all that kind of stuff. And the pharaoh, obviously, because he's in charge of it all. Then in kind of the 19th to 18th century, 19th century, it was kind of like only antiquarians. So antiquarians are type of these, type of people kind of well off, that were rich at the time, you know, that could have money, that could excavate certain things, but they're only interested in like gold and anything shiny, like valuables, like that would kind of go into museums. Like, they didn't really know what they had a fair idea what they were digging, but they had no idea at the time. They were employing people, they had the resources to get it, you know, like they had the money at the stage, like at that stage. So, and they hired a lot of people in Ireland, and kind of menial, like kind of like if they had mines, they'll get the mines, people from the mines, you know, people that were kind of labourers anyway would be there. And then kind of mid 19th century to 20th century, it was kind of looked upon that it was only kind of for the scholars, like, you know, archaeology is for the for the people that do academics and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of was kind of like, you know, a classy, like, you know, it's only like kind of a class, you know, type stuff. And if you're higher up, you get more and all that, like, you know, kind of like prestige kind of stuff, which is kind of a lot of bull. But anyway, and then kind of in the late 20th century to kind of early 21st century now, kind of like people were in the museums were kind of working as legislation, which I'll do. It's kind of like building and conserving legislation, because that kind of came up from the 1990s onwards. It was really hairy. Like people wanted to put a road through Tara, which is a very sacred site in Ireland, but like, and in the world, but in Ireland especially. And there was a picket on that. Like, people were protesting against that. But also where the Dublin city offices are now in town, on them, or on one of the streets, kind of like city centre, it's called Wood Quay. There was a high, and kind of in around Temple Bar and Fishamber Street in Dublin, there was a lot of archaeology there. It was actually Viking archaeology, and where Dublin Castle is now was a part of it as well. And when that was going on, people in their hundreds of thousands were protesting and were saying, like, this is our heritage, they need to like preserve that all. And all of a sudden it was gone. It was literally just like overnight. They came in overnight and just ploughed it all through and built that horrible looking thing. And a lot of archaeologists are against it, and I'm against it itself. Like, a lot of stuff is ruined, and now we won't know what has been lost, or what we've retrieved. Now, it is pretty good, like, that they had an area where they found a couple of really high things, like a house and stuff like that, and they marked it out on the streets where it is and what it was located and stuff, and that's really good. But still, it's really bad. So, next off, the things that we use in while we are excavating, and the main thing is here is a trowel. Now, this is kind of like archaeology is kind of a mix of a lot of trades. Like, it's a science, it's kind of labourers. So like, this could be used in concrete, but also it's easy to scrape back, like the trenches when we need to clean it up for a picture or whatever. And this is my very first one, so it has in there called Cormacology, because at the stage I was only doing archaeology, I didn't have a degree. Now I have the degree, so that's not bad. So that's that. If we're doing like kind of scooping up into buckets where there's something like a pit or something around, we use like a little hand shovel. We also use normal shovels. We use wheelbarrows to get the most of the dirt off. If we were in and around diggers, we actually have to have a safe pass, and I have my safe pass, but we use a hard hat as well. Um, that's pretty, like, it's kind of like, it depends on what you're working on. If you're working in commercial, you'll probably be digging with diggers all the time. Such as myself, I was up in Castlebar doing like kind of a monitoring thing, so I had to wear a hard hat, and that was just basically me standing there waiting until archaeology came up. Now the site was very recent, so or kind of had houses around. It was in a housing estate, so nothing really came up, and it kind of shows what kind of depths you're going. Now in commercial archaeology, where I'm going down in Kerry is a road scheme, so it's going to be very big and it's going to be very deep if it has to be deep, and I'm definitely going to have to wear a hard hat there. So I'm going pretty soon. If you're like in Swords Castle, I'm reverting it back to my own experiences. We had these. Now these are just, I bought these packets in from Lidl, but it's just a pack of brushes just to kind of, if you have bones, like human remains. Now companies will have a person that does osteoarchaeology, and osteoarchaeology is study of the human body, and they'll kind of sort it out. But for us, it was kind of that. Now when we're getting into kind of labeling stuff, when we're finding stuff, these are just a few examples. I won't, well, you will see pretty much, and I have another example later on. So these are types of bags that we have here. It just kind of has, I have written it out kind of fully out here, but it's just a different version. So it has the license number, the feature number, where it came from, what find. So you have to number all the finds, the place of the trench, like, or the place where you're digging, the trench number. Obviously that's very important, and what it is. And that is on the invert on the other side. It's just kind of telling me what I have to put down. Obviously a clipboard. If we're doing all these kind of sheets, we have to have a clipboard. These are fine numbers here, just in this little page, kind of just labeling it out. What it is, kind of like, and these are numbers. Like excavation number is always a big one. And then the feature, and like literally descriptions, and then you have to do dimensions, the date it was found, and feature description. So it's kind of, so this was also a little site map you get, or sometimes you don't get, or you can get. This was just in my first ever job with a commercial company. We're doing a housing estate, was extending onto a housing estate, so we had to do that. So they gave me all that kind of information. So if you find that on the site, and it's very important, you use this little chalkboard here, and I wrote down the details. So this is just a quick example. It's E always goes there. That's the excavation. The year of the excavation is always at 19. So it doesn't matter how long the project is going on for. If it's going on for 3 years, it will still be E19, because that's when it was issued. And then 001 was just an example. Then the feature number. So I said F21, which doesn't really matter what to use. I'll go through that in a stratigraphy. The find number was number 17. Where I said it was my house, because as I said, I was like digging out the back garden. What trench? I only had one trench, and what it is, so pottery, and that's just what it says here. And you use that, and you put it up against the little thing, take a photo, and you're done and dusted. Now these are interesting. Now that when we were in Swords Castle, when we were digging the bodies, we were using like little things like these. Now these are called leaf trails, and kind of other little bits. Now, there shouldn't really be metal. This came in a pack that I got, and in the behind me there, you can just see right here is my bag full of stuff. Leaf trails were out of plastic, so they wouldn't harm the person. Like, you have like little bits of hair kind of getting in between little bits here. This is like a little pick, so you can pick underneath, so you can lift it in perfect. And yeah, that's mostly it. Like, these are like little bits that I think that are very interesting. Now what we wear obviously is our hard hat, gloves, old clothes. Obviously you want to get dirty. The trousers I wear, like these trousers, like they're like the brand Snickers. They're kind of like just like kind of workman's trousers, and they have loads of pockets, so you can put everything in your pockets that you need, like a pencil to write down notes. I have a little notebook as well, and notebook, hard hat, gloves, protection. Obviously rain gear, obviously, because it's Ireland, it rains a lot here, so we have rain. I have my own rain gear. But the companies, like when you're doing that, companies normally do that, and that's really it. So for this one, it's just a little short one now. I had a little delays. I had to sort out stuff on my own on my holidays. So me and my family kind of did this kind of stuff. Like we made tie-dye t-shirts because the weather wasn't that great. So it was kind of, you know. And this was sick. Like it was red and yellow. You can kind of see it came out pink. Well, my mom thought it'd be cool if we to put it in the wash, maybe to wash it first. It kind of came out pink, but I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, I was kind of doing other little bits, like I was trying to find stuff for the gaming experiences, which I'm trying to start now in the well, it won't be starting now, but I'll be starting soon enough. When I get back from Kerry, which would be probably in January. I'm not 100% sure just yet. Well, after Christmas anyway. But I will be still uploading archaeology. I'll be telling you what I've been doing now today, and just kind of following around. And yeah, that's really it for this one. Oh, and also if you don't know, there's a whole thing in the media called Golfgate. Now, Golfgate, if you don't know, it's like Watergate in America with Richard Nixon bugging the Watergate Hotel. But this was kind of an opposite end of that. So, two ministers that are in the government now went up to this event in Galway, and they were caught, basically. They were called out. They found out that they were telling us to not to do things, like not to go out and all this. And a lot of people have sacrificed. I've sacrificed. My family have sacrificed a lot. My sister is an essential worker. She works in a bank. So, you know, like, we're just kind of, we've been doing a lot. And then all of a sudden now, these prime ministers are saying one thing and doing another. So, Golfgate, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to get mad into it. It's always trouble when you talk about politics. But anyway, I just want to bring that up. And, yeah, that's it for this video. My links will be in the description below for following them. Two other people that you should look out for is Digging with Raven. I'll put their Instagram down below. That's what I'm following them on. And Archaeology, they're around the world doing stuff, and they're pretty cool and they're really, really good. And any archaeological one like TVAS is a company. I'll put their link in the description below. IAC as well. I'll try and find links for them, even if they're your Facebook or whatever, or AMS especially. I'll put them in below. And yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.